Hello beautiful people, it's your girl Cass in voiceover mode. So today you guys, we are doing a photo collage edit. So the first thing I did was kind of plan exactly what was going to be happening in the collage. So I decided I was going to eat myself. So for the first person, I made sure they were the giant, the one holding the person that's going to eat the person. And for the second one, this is the person being eaten. So I was having a hard time with my acting skills in the beginning of this, but I was just trying to freak out about being eaten. And then for that third photo, I just kind of wanted someone on the side. At first they were going to save me, but then it ended up being just a person who was like, what's going on over there? So those are my three characters, and once I got the shots, I brought them into Photoshop. I'm just starting a new file. You can choose whatever dimensions you prefer, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to do 1080 by 1920. I'm changing my background color. I wanted kind of like a smoky blue color, so that's the color that I decided to start with. And then from there, I'm gonna go ahead and drag in my photos. So I selected the three that I'm gonna use, just dragging and dropping them into the event. And then I'm just gonna kind of play with the size just so I can determine how I want it to be sized onto the canvas. Pressing check when I'm done. Now I'm gonna bring in the next photo, which is the Cass, the eaten Cass being eaten. And then the same thing, just kind of sizing it and moving it more in the direction where that photo will actually be. And then I'm gonna bring in my final photo of the bystander Cass. And again, just dragging in the photo that I selected and then placing it where I want it to be placed. Próximo. So I'm hiding those two layers and I'm just gonna work on one layer at a time. So I'm hitting up my magnetic lasso tool. There's many ways that you guys can select your subject, but I just prefer magnetic lasso, so I'm going to my magnetic lasso tool and I'm just kind of extending this. I don't spend my time cutting out something that's not even going to be in the portrait. You know, work smarter, not harder, right? And then once I have it at a good place, I'm going back to my magnetic lasso and I'm just going to basically hover over the edges of the image. So if you're asking why did I shoot green screen, it was to really differentiate the subject from the background, and that makes it a lot easier to do this magnetic lasso. So let's speed through this, and you just want to end that magnetic lasso where you started, and you're going to click that little mask icon at the bottom of your layers panel and it will mask you out. So I did mess up a little, so all you have to do is go to the brush tool and you can brush whatever you messed up on back into the mask, but make sure your colors are white and black on the side panel there, and it should do that. It should fix it. We're all about fixing mistakes here. Nobody's perfect. And then after that, you guys, I'm just gonna zoom in and we're just gonna get really precise into cleaning this up. So magnetic lasso isn't perfect, nothing's perfect, so I'm gonna go to my eraser tool and really just deep down go in and erase out as much as possible. This can be a very tedious process. I'm sometimes a little lazy with it, so I like to zoom out to see what was really necessary. And so same thing, I just switch between my brush and my eraser in order to add things back or erase items. So now I'm moving on to my next image, so I unhid it from the layers panel, and I'm going to go back into my magnetic lasso and cut that baby out. Y'all know what's up. Press the mask button, cut it out, cut it out. I accidentally cut the wrong thing. Make sure you're selected on the right layer. There you go. And then again, I'm just gonna kind of move this image where I want it, and go into my eraser, clean up, go into my brush, fix it up, turn up. And now for the last image. So same thing, you guys, same process, magnetic lasso, transform tool, move, adjust, erase, bring back, do your thing. Ain't nothing but a chicken wing. I think I just heard someone scream. Okay, hopefully this voiceover is recording, I can't really tell. Ooh, you guys, something special, I decided to erase my leg right there, so I kind of turned down the opacity so that I could put the collar over my leg, add a little bit of depth, you know what I'm talking about? So yeah, anyways, I'm going to adjustments now, and I'm actually going to make that layer that's being eaten a little less bright because it was a little bit more bright than the other photos, but we'll do more color matching later. And now I'm just going to go into my adjustments panel and kind of play with the exposure as well to match that color. Cool. Now I'm gonna go to each of my layers, add an adjustment layer that's hue and saturation. Oh no, back to brightness. Come on, Cass, hurry up, man. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to each layer and go to image and go to adjustments. Okay, there we go. And I'm gonna add hue and saturation. I'm gonna switch it to the green channel, and I'm gonna totally turn down saturation on my greens so that I don't have those green edges or those green lights coming. So again, just going to all of them, adjustments, image, hue and saturation, green channel, and turning down that saturation, and it looks good to me. So I'm exporting, and we're gonna bring that baby into Lightroom so we can correct the color, make it all look cohesive and good and juicy and Instagram worthy, right? All right, so I dragged it into the library in Lightroom. I'm adding the SP5 filter. I'll link that below for you guys, and I'm going to just manipulate now some different things. I'm going to turn down the contrast, the exposure, turn down a little bit. I'm going to turn down the shadows, so this is really just making it a little bit more dark. And then I'm gonna also turn down the whites and the highlights because I don't want it to be too bright. And I always turn down my texture and my clarity so it gets a really like smooth, kind of glowy look to it. Tiny bit of dehaze so I can get a little like faded look. And I'm turning up my saturation a little so we can have some color up in there. And I'm just gonna scroll all the way down to grain because I definitely want some, you know, grain. This has the cowgirl denim vibes. We definitely want some grain in there. So I'm actually going to go into this masking brush right here, and I'm going to brush, so select brush, and I'm going to brush Cass. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna allow me to just edit whatever I brush. So this is game changing, you guys. So same thing like I was kind of doing in Photoshop. I just want to make sure that the image is fitting with the other images, not too bright. So I'm just kind of changing around the exposure until I feel like it fits with the other images on the screen. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to homegirl down here. It's really just the face that's a little bright for me, so you could just brush that section, start a new layer in your masking panel, and then you're gonna brush that same thing, turn down the exposure, and it looks good to me. So I'm gonna export this, and this is the final product. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have fun, sketch what you want to create, and create a bye.